All right. Welcome to Real Women Real Estate Podcast, episode 11. Whoop, whoop.
Woo! Woo!
Yay. All right. You guys don't sound too enthusiastic today. We have a special guest. I'd like to introduce Tareka Coney. Tareka, say hello to the audience.
Hey everyone.
Virtual audience. Awesome. So we'll get into everything we have on this episode today. We're really excited to have you, and we want to introduce our quote for the day. You never get what you deserve, only what you negotiate. By Ming Lee. And this was a quote from you. So we appreciate you dropping that knowledge. I like it.
That was a good quote.
So we want to give you some love. We want to get into your background and just introduce you. And so we're really excited to have you. So Tareka is a certified business credit boss, literally, with degrees, certifications from Florida A&M University. All right. University of Phoenix. And Cornell University. Tareka turned her passion for education into entrepreneurship as a financial and business educator. Not only is she the founder of the Biz Credit Academy, which helps small business owners obtain and have access to capital, she also is the owner of one of the #1 certification courses that certifies entrepreneurs on being certified business credit professionals, as well as, yes, it keeps going, guys, as well as Women Entrepreneur Factory, which seeks to educate and empower minority women in business. Wow. I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing enough.
I think I'm doing too much.
That's a boss with a capital B.
Exactly. Okay. No, we're really excited to have you on, and I can't wait to get into it and just kind of learn about and kind of pick this apart and how you're able to do all this and how you're being affected right now with this pandemic and just how is life. So let's get into it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So, I am Tareka Coney, and I'm known as a business credit expert. And what I do is I help small business and entrepreneurs get capital for their business. I started this business because I was going through a domestic violence relationship for 9 years. It was only my escape out. Right. It was only my escape out of things. So I started building my personal credit first. I knew the only way that I can get out of that relationship if I was to get my own apartment. So I started building my personal credit first, and then I started getting an interest in personal credit. So I started with personal credit, and my company was called Credit Repair Supermarket. So then I was like, I think this is taking my educational background. I was like, I think this is something I can do. I want to venture more on the business side of things. So I started the business side of the credit of business credit. And then that's when I got my office, and then I was able to, I stepped out on faith. I was one of the ones that listening to these mentors and people were like, oh, just leave your job and blah, blah, it's going to be okay. And I left one of the youngest African-American professors at UMA. So I left a high-paying job to pursue entrepreneurship. With me leaving that high-paying job, it did cause some financial stress on me. So I was like, I might as well, if I'm already leaving this job, I might as well go ahead and create my business. So I went ahead, when I walked away from that job in January of, I think, 2016, I walked away from that job. Didn't know how I was going to make it. I just knew, hey, let me follow these steps and things. So I went and got, I had an office. That was the worst mistake that I ever made, was going into getting an office. It was almost like $800 in rent at that time. I was married, so it really didn't, because my ex-husband was still making money and stuff, so it really wasn't a burden. After that split up, then I was like, oh, I got to do this on my own. So that was like, nope, let me get out of this lease. I don't care. I'm out of here. So I was able to get out of the lease. I was able to buy everything in my office off of business credit. Got a $4,500 business credit line of credit with Amazon, and then I had ended up getting a $1,500 line of credit with Office Depot. When I got
Wow, did you say Amazon?
Yeah, Amazon
And Office
Wow.
Depot?
Okay.
Office Depot. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, we need to understand.
I need to know.
I got those, and I said, you know what, other business owners need to know about this, and then not just business owners. I really think that minority women and men need to know about business. So I started in my area, being known as the financial mayor, not literally, just figuratively known as the financial mayor. Everywhere I would turn, people will want to either have me come speak at their events or anything. I'm a big introvert. I don't speak or anything. Like, I literally sit before I go on the stage and do anything, but I do it. I knew that was my only way if I was going to make income for me and my daughter, was to suck it up and get out there and speak. So I end up running into joining this group called BNI. BNI is a referral group. If it's in your area, I highly recommend that you join. It's a business networking group.
I have that. Yeah.
With that group, they only allow one person from each industry in that group. So that means in that group, you have to pass referrals from one person to another. If you do not pass referrals to one another, you can actually be kicked out of the group. So they're very strict on passing referrals. So that means if it's one realtor, everybody, if it's 12 people in that group and they're trying to sell homes or do anything, you're the top person and you're really the only person that they refer to. So I joined, I happened to show up, I got invited to, you only can be invited. I got invited, and then they have to vote you in too. They have to vote you in too.
Mm-hmm.
So I
That's serious.
It's serious. They vote you in.
Yeah.
The membership is like $850 a year, but it's well worth it. It's well worth it. It's there, and the VP of BB&T Bank was there, and she's like, "Are you Tareka?" I'm like, "Who are you?" Yeah. She's like, "I've heard so many things about you. You know what is crazy? I've been hearing your name, and I've been wanting to meet you." I'm like, "Me? Little old me? You want to meet me?" She's like, "Yeah." Ever since then, we formed a huge relationship. They became my major sponsor of my company. They sponsor all my events and sponsor all my everything. But she ended up leaving because she knew that the merge of BB&T and SunTrust was coming, and she didn't want to be part of it. So she moved over to Suncoast Credit Union. Now, Suncoast Credit Union is one of my sponsors. With all of that, I created the Women's Entrepreneur Factory because I wanted to teach more minority women. Because I was part of a lot of organizations here, and I would never see women that looked like me.
That look like you. Yeah.
I would get highly upset. I would go to these big meetings, and they would be filled with people that do not look like me. So that's the reason why I created the Women's Entrepreneur Factory, to focus on minority women and millennial women. And I was spending a lot of money going to these luncheons and stuff like that. It just wasn't me, and I just had to get out of it. It's just like I wasn't wasting them, renewing memberships and stuff like that. So I ended up with being in these memberships and stuff, you are able to connect and network with people. I'm good at networking. I'm good at closing deals and things like that. So I ended up having to connect with this one, another millennial girl there. She worked for Disney. I end up just saying, hey, she was doing her spill. Hey, let's connect on a level. You know, sometimes people, they just love Black people.
Right.
Like, yeah, connect with you, everything. I end up getting a partnership with Walt Disney to take 40 women behind the scene of Walt Disney World it's called The Business Behind the Magic. It was supposed to happen in April this year, but I had to push the date out. So it was going to happen in September, but COVID struck. So they were kind enough to push it out to next year. So I'm really excited about that, because
that's exciting.
Really small businesses like mine and women like us doing things like that. Major partnerships with big brands. I'm very humble.
That's a lot. Yeah.
I'm very humble in my beginnings. I'm very, very humble in things. And I'm just now to the point is like, you got to stop sugarcoating the ish now. Tareka, you got to stop sugarcoating and give it to people really raw that your business needs to be together. And I guess that brings you to the question of people doing business, people in business, but not really doing business.
Oh, let me stop you before you get there. Oh, what's that mean? She's spitting. Listen, okay, I'm hyped. I'm into it.
You're getting ahead of yourself by the way you can rap.
Right. I am. First of all, congratulations on those mergers. Like, I feel like I've seen a lot of people say they do credit, say they do business credit, right? And that's great. But you are actually doing something with your skills. You're actually making connections and putting people in rooms that they ordinarily wouldn't have access to. So you go, girl. Okay, kudos to you. Okay, so before we get to, which is quite honestly like what made me just like be like, I gotta get her on the show. Before we get to that, can you break it down for our listeners? What is business credit? How is it different from personal credit?
All right. So business credit and personal credit are built on two different systems. Your personal credit is going to be built off of your SSN, which can be considered your social security number. Your business credit is going to be built off of your EIN. But with you having an EIN, you need to make sure that you have a Dun and Bradstreet number 2. That is the indicator for your business. It's like a social security number for your business also, but you need an EIN number and a DUNS number. With the business credit, you can build business credit, contrary to beliefs, a lot easier than you can build your personal credit. If somebody's file was completely together, had everything together, you can build business credit within 90 days.
I need that. I got my EIN, but I don't have the other one.
Exactly.
But with me being in business, I have not came across anybody that has fully had their business together. So at that point, we have to go back. But my company has like an 80-20 rule. I do 80% of the work. You do 20% of the work. I can't wait on you. You're busy. You're doing this. I need to get this stuff done and get you out of my program. So with the personal credit and the business credit, most of the time I teach my clients to build it off their business credit without a personal guarantee. So that means not connecting your SSN. So that brings up two things that are two misconceptions is business funding and business credit. Those are two different things. If you're hearing people say, oh, I can get you 250,000, 100,000 within 20 to 30 days, 60 days, that's business funding because you are connecting your social security number to that, which is going to, if you have, okay, so say if you do connect your personal credit to it, if your dreams of owning a home, it will never happen for the simple fact your debt to income ratio is going to be extremely high because you're putting too much in your business, and business owners, we're going to take that risk. So if I get a $30,000, if I get a no limit Amex card and I want to go into business, I'm probably going to max that card out. Now that card is going to be maxed out, and now that's on my personal credit too. So now I say that now with my dreams, if I don't own a home, now I'm probably never going to own a home because my business, it takes a good business, about 3 to 5 years to really start generating income for their business. So now you're in complete debt, and most people do not pay off that debt when they're running those credit cards. So it's just a difference. Personal credit is running off your SSN, and then your business credit is going to be run off your EIN and having a DUNS number.
Okay. So you mentioned offline, we were talking about how your business has developed during this pandemic, and that you mentioned that you've been busier than ever. And so we want to know, our audience is based on real estate, women real estate. Tell us how your experience of working with real estate investors and agents as well. Let me take a little side and let me get some information for myself. How do you work with those agents and investors? Let's throw both of those in there.
Right. So one of my good friends, her name is Brandy Tharp. She is a queen of, I don't want to say queen of real estate because she doesn't see herself as that. But this girl is just as big of a boss as I am. This girl owns like 30 freaking properties. So I helped start with her. She's a real estate investor.
Pause right quick. I just want to highlight the fact that you said she's just as big as the boss as you are. I love that. Okay. Continue.
Women empowerment. Yay.
Exactly. Exactly.
So if you guys can connect with her, she owns about 30 homes, probably doing her 31 home. And all her homes are
We'll connect. We'll get her information.
She tooted her own horn. I love that. We don't do that enough. Go ahead.
Exactly.
Right. So she does that. So I started with her, building with her, and then how it works. Let's go into how it works for real estate agents that are trying to get business credit for their business. So say if you're a real estate agent or a real estate investor, you come into buying a property. A property may cost $10,000 to $15,000. You may have the cash flow for you to buy that property. Now you have the cash flow to buy that property. Now you may not have the cash flow to rehab that property now. So how business would work for a real estate agent or investor, so I guess someone that's going to flip a home, how it work for them, if I can get them a Lowe's card, a Home Depot card, a United Rental, and a Sunbelt account, that right there is going to take care of that flip. So right now they've already invested that $10,000 to $15,000 into that home. Now they don't have to worry about buying material because now they have an account with Lowe's where they can go buy all their material from Lowe's on a net 30 account. Now they can go to United Rental or Sunbelt Rental and go rent the machinery that they need to go ahead and do that flip. Now they can get a Home Depot card and buy more materials. Now they can go ahead and start that project. Once they start that project and finish that project, whatever profit that they make from that project, now they can take that money and go ahead and pay those accounts off and keep that cycle going on and on and on and on. Whereas only really money that's coming out is being able to purchase the property. So that's how it's going to work for real estate agents or anyone that is going to be in the property of flipping homes. You don't have to wait. So let me get this additional $30,000 to put in there. Now I can get these accounts. I can go ahead and flip this home, get that revenue paid off, and continue to keep on. So it allows you to have a start. Also with if maybe they need a credit card, the only type of credit card that you can get with no personal guarantee is a Sam's Club MasterCard. With the Sam's Club MasterCard, that card can be used anywhere, and that's strictly on your business credit. That's exactly what, where it's not going to be tied into your personal credit or any type of gas cards. That can be Chevron, BP, anything with a MasterCard logo, you can use anywhere. So that's additional cash flow to also help you. And then you just pay it on the terms that the company set for you.
Okay. Are these interest rates typically really high for your business credit, more so than personal?
They can be a little high. Yes, they can be high. But we have to think about when you're in business, you're taking a risk on your business in hopes that you will make that money back to pay off of that debt. You can get the money quickly, but yes, it may be a higher APR, a higher interest rate. But like I said, when you're in business, you really don't think about that. At the time, you're just like, oh, I got this money. Let me just go ahead and make this investment and make a quick flip from it. That's just like if you had it for a hairstylist. A hairstylist can go buy maybe $1,000 worth of hair and make $20,000 back very quickly. So it just really depends. But yes, there is some risk that is involved.
Just like anything else. And I think there are people that, like, I didn't know that. Like, I didn't know that you could go to Home Depot or even Costco or Amazon, as you mentioned before. I'm thinking bank. I'm thinking a bank for my business loan. And I'll be honest with you, I went to the bank for my business loan and they wanted my home as like collateral. They wanted some sort of collateral for that. And I didn't feel comfortable. I was like, oh, well, I'll put up my house just to take out a business loan. What type of collateral do you advise doing that? Do you advise going to banks for a business credit?
No, I do not advise going to banks for business credit at all. I do not advise small business owners to even think about loans at all. 75% of people that apply for loans are going to be denied. There's no federal regulations behind a business banker giving you a loan. That's the reason why there's so many disparities with African Americans when they can't get approved for loans. It's not like the personal credit where you have the FCRA, you have the Consumer Protection Bureau. I hope I'm saying that right. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau that says that, hey, the Equal Opportunity Act, that where these people have to give it to you. They don't have that with the banking at all. So if a lender comes and you come into a bank and say, hey, I want to apply for something, yeah, let's go ahead and take your application and we'll run it through. They don't even have to call you if you don't get approved or anything like that. There's no federal regulations. But to answer your questions, no, I do not think small businesses need to go for loans, because most small businesses are not going to qualify. You're going to need personal credit. You're going to need business credit, where you have to have at least a FICO SBS score, or your Equifax small business score on the back end, which a lot of people do not know. You're going to need a personal guarantee. You're going to need some type of collateral, as you spoke about. You're going to need financial statements. And a lot of us just do not have that. What I tell small business owners to focus on is alternative financing. Alternative financing are the same type of terms that you can get as a business loan. It's just you may have to pay it back on a weekly or a monthly basis, and the interest rate just may be a little bit higher at that point. And that you have a credit line. But the great thing about it is a credit line, you pay it off, you get it back. A loan, you pay it off, you got to go through that process all over again. So I tell my people to go after credit lines, and like using companies like Funbox, Blue Vine, Cabbage, Credible, using stuff like that.
Cabbage, let's talk about that. See, I have a problem with, that's an offline, but yes, I did one with Cabbage, and I felt like it was what is it, the term for, well, the payday loans but for personal people. I felt like it was just too high because of how fast they wanted it back, and it was like this. And so yes, so I felt like I feel like as a business person I can get a better one than that.
Yeah, you can, but some people don't have access to that, so they have to take what they have. Like my uncle, he owns his own trucking company.
Well, let's take a step back, Kim. Let's take a step. What is what is it called? Business cabbage?
Cabbage.
It's Cabbage. It's one
Cabbage. Explain what that is for our listeners.
Okay, so Cabbage is a company that does loans and lines of credit, where they connect to your business bank account that you have. They see the amount of revenue that you're coming into your business bank account, and then they generate you funds based off of the revenue that's coming into your bank account. It's a lot easier to qualify for because you don't have to worry about those profit and loss statements and all that stuff that they're looking for. Right. You can get the same amount from alternative financing company than you can get from a traditional loan. So they have these type of companies that are readily available for people. And they have a high cash flow. So if you have a high cash flow, but you have bad personal credit, you can still get approved for that loan. But you do have to see, hey, that interest rate may be high, and then those weekly payments may be a little bit high also. Right. But once again, that's the risk that you take in business.
It's also, they don't check your credit. So that is it's if you have the cash flow, but you don't want them to check your credit and it's going against your business, it's awesome. It's just how they go about getting the money back and how fast that they do the payments. So, if you do 30 days, but then you borrow again, then you're doing you have your 30-day to still do, and now you have another one. And they do exactly, like you may have 2 payments due in 1 month because of how it's done.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So we have our set our set questions here, but I want to just go off into this area real quick. So with this pandemic and with COVID, and we kind of talked about you having a lot of people reaching out to you, but can you tell me, as a small business right now, what are some things that you should be doing to get yourself in line, to bounce back when this is over, to fix your credit, to understand the process of business credit? What are some things that you should be doing right now? Because this is all about education. Right now, if you don't know your credit score right now, or if you haven't reached out in ways to save money by calling your insurance company, I mean, like, you should be thinking right now of ways to build your brand or your business, if that is in your landscape. What are some sound advice you have right now, just that you're giving your clients?
One thing is, it was giving it to them, giving the advice now, don't even think about credit. Let's just take credit out. Fix your business. That's where a lot of people are failing at. Like, you have a business, but when I go pull your address up on the Secretary of State, it's pulling up your home address. Like, what they're looking for and what lenders are looking for is your business credibility. They're looking and seeing if you are credible for me to give you this loan. That's the reason why a lot of these people are mad at the big companies. They're mad at Chris. They are mad at these
Yes.
shake. It's not that these why don't these, I guess I have a different way of thinking. Why don't these companies deserve it and they have their stuff together? Where I hear people been a sole proprietor for 21 years, have no business bank account at all.
Speak on it.
Register, but you expect the government to be able to give you some money and your business is not even credible. That is where we're failing at. We're failing at making sure our business is registered with the Secretary of State. And your Secretary of State is your state where you do your business filing, either an LLC or an INC. You need to make sure that is first and make sure that your business information is correct on there. Then you need to make sure you have an EIN number for your business. Not a lot of people are filing their business off of a DBA.
Yep.
It's not a business at all. So you have this DBA that you probably pay $20 for, most states maybe $50, the EIN number, and now you're thinking that you're legal. No, sweetie, you're not legal at all. You don't have a legal business at all. You will be surprised. I've worked with celebrities like building their business credit, and a lot of people I outsource on the back end for some of these major credit companies, and you will be surprised that, like, wait, what? Like, are you serious? Like I had one girl tell me, like, she's made almost $100,000 and haven't even registered her business. Like why? And I had to straight up tell her, I'm like, you.
I think it's education. I think it's education. I think it's, and I don't know, the demographic of this person, and I guess it's not necessarily important, but I know for women of color, it's an education. We didn't necessarily come up with this knowledge, and we didn't have that background of people sharing that with us and sharing us what to do. So I think that's a lot of it, because I was kind of thinking about that. If I wasn't in the position that I was in regards to real estate in my particular brokerage, I mean, I never would have known this, but it did take a lot of me asking, well, how are you doing this? Oh, well, I have my LLC paying the brokerage firm so that I can write off taxes. I was like, oh, is that how you do it?
Mm-hmm. But then also it takes being transparent, because Tareka, you're doing a great job of, kind of standing on the soapbox with your bullhorn and telling people, like, hey, let's get it right, be raw with people. But to your point, people could be making six figures and they're so enamored with how things look, they would never take the step to be transparent to make sure that shit is right. They would rather just kind of keep being janky, and as long as I get my check, I'm fine. So
I don't even think, honestly, like Courtney said, I think it's a knowledge thing. And I think
absolutely.
And maybe we're in a situation where we're coming from the other side because we already know, but a lot of these people don't know, even celebrities.
They don't know.
Yeah. I have they don't know. Celebrities. They don't know that's what they're supposed to do. They think
we didn't have fathers and businesses in the background telling us what to do.
Exactly what to do. And everyone didn't, that's the difference between us and other groups is that as far as our culture goes, is that a lot of us are the first generation entrepreneurs.
That's
not
true.
everyone, you know, but we
Absolutely.
don't know the steps. So we do think, or people do think that getting a DBA is just as good as having an LLC. Oh, it's cheaper and I'm doing business as. No, you are.
Oh, that I need to apply for EIN. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or even still, some people, like she said, like Tareka said, some people have a DBA and an EIN because it is possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't realize that you need to separate the two, and doing business as is still linked to your social security number and not to your business account because you don't have an LLC. You're not protected. So that does come with knowledge, and I feel like this is why you guys are, you know, we're important. Tareka's important because we need to know this. You know, a lot of our people, I get people who ask me all the time. I have my cousin that was just like, how do I get my stuff started? Or people will I see people post all the time was, who is helping with LLCs? You know, because they don't know that they need an LLC to actually be a legit business.
And that brings me to the point of, and I do believe a lot of us do know. We know what we're doing. We just don't want to do it some of the times. We don't want to, because like I was saying, like we don't want to take it to that next level. You know why it is? Because they don't want to pay taxes. That's the reason I think a lot of times they are trying to skip out on the IRS sometimes and not pay the taxes because it's with making money. It comes with that territory. And sometimes they don't want to be bartered out with it, or they keep putting it on the back burner. They know that they're going to do it, but when you got $50,000 to $100,000 coming in for you a hair, especially a lot of people that sell hair, when you have all that money coming through your bank account, you don't sit there and think about, let me register my business because I have a brand now. And then when the IRS is knocking at your door, knowing that you're selling stuff, now you're like, oh, let me go back and do this. I think sometimes a lot of it is a lack of education. That is why I'm pushing to get education in our school system here in my area. It's the lack of education, and we're not speaking about it more, or we're so afraid to offend somebody about their business and about credit. And I think that is one of the things. And also when it comes to when you said about the LLC, a lot of people, that's all they know to file because that's the trend. File a LLC, file a LLC, file a LLC. But I tell people, you file based on the level of risk that your business is going to be, and you file your business on what type of business that you're going to have. So say if I have a person that has a fire alarm company, I would not tell them to file an LLC company because it has a limited liability behind it. I would recommend them to file an INC in the event that something happens, that the company gets sued, and not you're going to get your company, or the LLC, your company is going to get sued, and then you're going to get sued also. So I would recommend that type of company to be like, okay, you need to incorporate and make sure that you have high insurance with your business. So I tell people, file based on what type of business that you are going to be. Don't just go file, because a lot of times, a lot of people need to be INCs, and they need to take that risk off of them in the business and just put it on the business. This is how Donald Trump, as you contrary, how he is winning, how he's able to keep building these businesses and then dissolving them. You got to think about when he paid Stormy, whatever that girl name is, he paid them to a third party consulting company, a third party consulting company, INC. That's how they're doing it, and then they just dissolve the company. If the business fails, it fails. So you see what I'm saying? So it's the education around it.
So how would you recommend to get started? I know you do a lot of education. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about your platform and some of the things that you do?
Right. So what I do is I help small business and entrepreneurs. Where I start at is basically the credibility of the company. The first thing I'm looking at when you're coming on board is I'm looking at making sure that you are a legal business and you're registered with the Secretary of State. Then I'm going to look at the information on your Secretary state, and making sure that it reflects business information. And everything needs to be business information, from business email to making sure that your business, when you filed your EIN, that it has correct addresses on there. If your business if a lot of people start their business, change addresses and stuff, you have to also go back and switch that information. So if anybody's listening, like, hey, I filed my EIN years ago, but I moved to a new address, you need to go file a form 88 2B. I may say those numbers wrong, but 88 2B, where you can change your business address so it can update it with
You're talking to me.
And then I'm looking at all that information. I'm making sure that you have a DUNS number. Your DUNS number is going to be very important to your business. Once we get all that done, then I'm going to activate your business credit scores. A lot of people don't know you're not going to get a business credit score until you activate your profile. You're going to activate your profile via nav.com. Nav.com is going to give you the ability to go and activate your scores. And then a lot of people can't find your business on nav.com. That's because that means the foundation of your business is not correct at all. So that's what I do, is I help small business get the capital for the business and what they need their business to grow.
Apparently,
So if I want to reach out to you directly, and I'm Kim, and I moved, and I didn't do these things, how can I reach out to you directly? Like, what services do you offer? Do you offer courses? Do you offer, how can you help me?
So I have 3 companies, but for the sake of credit, I have the certified business credit professional, where people that are in the financial industry, they can take a course and get an in-depth analysis of what business credit really is. It's a 6 weeks course. We go into the depth of what is business credit, knowing how to sell to your business credit, knowing how to read business credit reports, and that's for businesses. On the consumer side, I have the Biz Credit Academy. With the Biz Credit Academy, we take your information, we do your business analyst audit, and then we put you through the program where we will build your business credit for you. And you don't really have to worry. You just have to make sure that you get the stuff that we require. We're going to send you your vendors, what you need to start off with and order. And then we're going to start working with you generating your score. And we're going to make sure your company is going to be completely built from A to Z. I had so many people reach out to me like, oh my gosh, Tareka, like, thank you for structuring our business correctly so we were able to get approved for the loan. I'm like, you see, it's better to have it and don't need it than need it and don't have it. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason why I try to tell people, like, now you're seeing what I was talking about of making sure. I said, you're not going to get approved for a loan without the SBA. The SBA runs the loans. That's what people don't realize. SBA does not provide loans at all. What the SBA does is back the bank 90% in the event that you're going to default on that loan. That's the reason why a lot of the banks were so hesitant about offering just random people that are not customers of their bank a loan, because how do we guarantee that we're going to get this money back from that person? At least they want to their clients first dibs on getting those loans and things, So that's why it's very important that you have a banking relationship with your banker. I recommend every business owner or a person to have a small business bank, a credit union, and I also think you should have a big bank. You should have 2 type of bank. A small business bank is probably going to be run by somebody in your community that is very rich, and they make the decision if they're going to give you money or not. With a major bank, they have to follow the FDIC guidelines and everything that's going to put in the place. So I just say get a small business bank. Navy Federal is really good. Navy Federal will give you a.
Yep.
You've been talking to Kim this whole episode, by the way.
Exactly.
Whole conversations for me. Mine is the fact that I don't have my address, but yes, Navy Federal is my small business bank. Yes, we bank with them.
Yes, they'll give you up to $25,000 to $50,000 without having to produce documentation, which that is really good for a small business owner. You may take a personal hit to your credit. I think they pull for Experian, but not having to produce all that paperwork will be really, really good for a small business owner.
Awesome for a line of credit, though.
Yes, they are very awesome. But here's the thing about Navy Federal and people pushing them in there. You mess up with them, you're done. You're done. It ain't no. It
My
ain't no.
kids got accounts there.
Yeah, there's always Deutsche Bank.
It's not no. I'm gonna file a bankruptcy, get this off of my credit, and I'll be back. Like some companies, you can file bankruptcy and go back to apply for them. No, once you mess up with them, you're done. You're over it. They don't want to have a banking relationship. They're gonna keep reporting to your credit until they kill you.
Wow.
They're one of the ones that even though it's charged off every month, they're going to report and it's going to kill your score. So I recommend anybody, if you get Navy Federal, please take care of Navy Federal.
Don't mess it up.
Don't mess it up. Don't mess it up at all.
Ooh. You pay your tithes, pay Navy Federal.
Navy Federal.
After, okay.
I feel like we listen to trade secrets. You know what I mean? Like just things that we don't get to hear on an everyday basis. I feel like I'm inside of a conversation that's private. You know, so I really appreciate this.
Yeah, like I low key just want you to like come on every week. Is that possible? What are you doing next week? No.
Yeah. So what are some So we've learned a lot. We talked about our community. We talked about things that we don't necessarily know, even as business owners, as minorities, and as women. And these are some of your passions. Tell us about empowering women. That's who we are, right? We're women in real estate. We started this thing out. We want to grow our male audience. We reach out to the men. We love the men, right? Mm-hmm. But tell us some things in our particular community, because we are, I don't want to say we're disenfranchised, but the minorities in regards to women, we are, what did Beyonce say? We're the most disrespected. We're the most disrespected people in society, right? So just tell us a little bit about your passions in regards to empowering women and some of the things that you do.
I'm very passionate about women empowerment. Very passionate about impacting my community. That's the reason why one of my favorite quotes is, "You never get what you deserve. You only get what you negotiate." So in a closed mouth don't get fed, or whatever they say, however they say
that part. Yeah.
You have to firmly ask for what you want. And then I take one thing from Artricia Wilcox. One of her key things that she says, "A win for you is a win for me, sis." We have to make sure that we are going to bat for women and putting people in positions. So when I step off boards, I want another African-American woman to come in there right behind me to be able to sit on these boards. I sat on a board today, and I'm on a major company, and I heard them say that we got $754,000 for the government, but they were begging for extra assistance. And I literally had to tell them, like, they like Tareka, like it's just stuff like that we are not at that table. We are not sitting there getting these resources and things that are and they are available. They are available for us. We just don't go get them. I recommend that all women currently right now, before the SBA changed their rules this summer, I recommend that all ladies go get their women's certification, women-owned business certification. I think it's women-owned WOSB women-owned certification. I think
we'll put it in the show notes. Okay,
because I need that.
Yes, I recommend. I recommend that you get that certification. All you have to do is, if you have your business stuff together, is just go through the process, turn your business women minority certification. That's what it's called. Go ahead and turn that certification in. You know what happens with that certification? You're able to bid on contracts for. So say you're a real estate or an investor, and you have something that's coming into to town. You get first dibs because it's off of a point system. Say the Super Bowl is coming to town and they need help finding properties or need help selling properties or anything. If you have your woman minority certification, you're going to get first dibs on those things. We had the Super Bowl coming to Tampa. so many African American people missed out on it because they did not have their stuff together. And then they pay you. So if we're building roads and construction and stuff like that, they're hiring a contractor for this, they're hiring a contractor for that. You get first dibs and you get a piece of the pie. They have to get that money out.
You just taught something though, because I thought as registering my business and checking the box that I'm an African American, that they automatically knew that I was a Black owned business. I did not know that I actually have to get a completely different certification for that. So you just taught me something. I think, and again, that goes back to, like, we're saying everyone doesn't have their stuff together. I clearly, because you have been talking to me, don't have my stuff together like I thought I did.
Me either.
Because I did not know that this existed. I didn't even know, and I've had clients that were Black owned businesses and they would get those bids. I used to have a trash company as a client in Maryland, and they would get the bids, but I had no idea that they actually had a certification for that. I thought it was, I checked the box that I'm African American, and boom, they know I'm a female and they know I'm an African American, so therefore they know clearly that I can apply for this. Didn't know it was a certification. So now I'm about to Google that as soon as we're done with it.
Right. I can't wait to listen to this episode over again.
Yes.
It's so much
knowledge.
knowledge
Taught me in this episode a lot of things.
You've been dropping knowledge this whole time, Tareka. So we want to be respectful of your time. We could talk all evening. This has been a great conversation. Just a quick question we usually ask our guests is, do you have a book recommendation? What do you suggest people read?
I think his name is Nathan Lakin. It's called how to be a capitalist without any capital.
Sis got the book. She held the book up.
She was ready. I like it.
I picked this up for some reason. I like books, but I hardly get a chance to read them. But I actually bought this. I have a whole
I knew she was gonna chime in.
I probably didn't read them, but I picked up this one. It was weird. I found this one at the airport. I've never seen this book before, and I ran into it at the airport. And I started reading at the airport, and I was like, the stuff that he talked about in this book, it was just mind blowing. How he took his company. He didn't have much. And how he took his company and made it into a multi-million-dollar company just by asking for what he wanted, and not having that much money. So this is a perfect book that I would recommend.
Okay.
It is.
We're gonna put that in the show notes for everybody as well. I like it.
Really good.
Also,
awesome.
Tell people, because we know you have a class to teach and it's time to get off, but tell people how they can reach you and what your social media handles are.
Yes, you can find me on Facebook at Tareka. That's Tareka, and it's Coney, Coney. And then you can find me on Instagram as Business Credit, and it's expert with the X. So Business Credit Expert with the X. And yeah, follow me.
I'm about to follow you, girl. Follow me.
I'm about to follow you too. Gonna log off. Let me get on.
Tareka, we are so grateful that you took the time to speak to us. This has been like a great conversation, and I think we've all have learned a lot. So thank you again for agreeing to be on the show, and we will let you get back to your evening.
All right,
everyone. That's really episode 11.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was dope, y'all.
Oh my gosh.
That was
literally
that was like the best episode ever.
Oh,
Do you feel like that?
Hold on.
Yes.